A personal reflection on anxiety at work.
When I got promoted to management, I was excited, felt like all my hard work had finally paid off. But as soon as I stepped into the role, things started to change. The responsibilities, the expectations, it all hit me harder than I expected. I went from feeling confident to feeling completely out of my depth. At first, I tried to brush it off. I thought, this is just an adjustment period. Everyone goes through this. But the anxiety kept building. Every day I walked into the office with this tight knot in my chest, like I couldn't breathe properly. I'd sit at my desk, staring at my to-do list, and feel completely paralyzed. It was like a constant pressure, this voice in my head saying, "You're not good enough for this, you don't belong here." I'd be in meetings, pretending to know what I was doing, while my mind was racing with thoughts of everything I might be missing. My heart would pound, and I'd feel like everyone could see through me, like they knew I was struggling to keep it together. The worst part was that I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to seem weak or incapable, especially not after being promoted. So I kept pushing through, taking on more and more, hoping it would get better. But it didn't get better, it got worse. The sleepless nights started. I'd lie awake, my mind spinning with all the things I needed to do, all the things I hadn't done. I'd wake up more tired than when I went to bed, and it just made everything harder. I couldn't focus. I started making small mistakes, and each one felt like proof that I was failing. Even at home, I couldn't switch off. I'd be with my family, but my mind was still at work, running through the next day's challenges. I felt like I was in this cycle of stress that I couldn't break out of. I thought I could handle it on my own, but I was falling apart and no one knew, or at least I thought no one knew, until one day a colleague pulled me aside. They just asked, "How are you doing? You don't seem like yourself." At first I brushed it off, saying I was fine, like I always did, but then they asked again, and something about the way they asked, it broke through. I realized in that moment just how much I'd been holding in. For the first time, I admitted to someone else that I was struggling. I didn't have to pretend I was fine, and it felt like a weight lifted, just being able to say it out loud. That simple question, "How are you?" It was the first time anyone had really asked me since I'd been promoted, and it was exactly what I needed. Just knowing someone noticed made all the difference.
I didn't recover overnight. I still had responsibilities and the stress didn't disappear. But that moment, that conversation, made me realize I didn't have to carry it all alone.